The ladies of The View, Disney's ABC talk show, promised they would wear a red hat, at least one of them, if the hostages were freed. Now the Orange Man has done just that, but they're not following through. They're not keeping their end of the deal. And folks, we're here to tell you, they're also stealing away the great news that their viewers need to see by hiding the peace in the Middle East all across their show and on X.
If he does good, if he gets the Israeli hostages out, I promise I will wear a MAGA hat for one day on the show and say,
all right, ladies and gentlemen, from Colin Rugg, late last year, The View's Alyssa Farah promised to wear a MAGA hat on the show if President Trump got the hostages out. I promise I will wear a MAGA hat for one day on the show and say thank you for doing it. Here is The View from late last year, as you can see with the, you British people call them fairy lights. I don't know why. They're Christmas lights. They're Christmas lights. Here we go.
My point when I say I'm not going to be apocalyptic, it's not changing a tune. It's not making every single thing a 5-alarm fire. Yeah. If he does good, if he gets the Israeli hostages out, I promise I will wear a MAGA hat for one day on the show and say thank you for doing it. Yeah. She'll knock it right off my head. But like you have to be able to cheer for wins when they happen and then call out relentlessly the wrongdoing. Well,
all right. Well, what happened, ladies and gentlemen? Let's go to The View right now. I'm going to show you what happened because guess what? The hostages have been freed. So let's see how they're handling it on The View. All right, let's see here. The View, they post on their X basically every segment there is. The View has this. It says, it was remarkable how much that small gesture meant to these families. Alyssa Farah Griffin shares why she wore a yellow pen on The View. Okay. All right. This is a tremendous historic day, okay, but it's a little podcast thing that you got to click on to get out of here. All the other segments, Oprah Daily is back. They're actually here on X. You can go click them and watch them. Oprah Daily is back with another haul for fall, okay. Remembering Diane Keaton, okay, well, that's good of them, but they've got videos here. Pam Bondi reacts to the SNL parody sketch. I mean, Katy Perry, Justin Trudeau, oh, come on. Seriously? We love Michael J. Fox. Every one of these has a segment. Every one of these has a segment. But if you want to see what they said about the Middle East, then this is not the show. This is her on a little podcast snip. And this you got to leave. So you know what? We can't even go to The View on X to find out what it is they said, you know, if they actually followed through on what they said they would do. So Fox News has it. David Rutz says The View co-host praises former boss Trump for massive diplomatic achievement and hostage deal. Okay. Did they wear the hat? Ladies and gentlemen, you probably know the answer. Here's what The View had to say.
And if this peace deal holds, which I pray that it does, it's historic. It is a massive diplomatic achievement. And I think the whole world can breathe a sigh of relief because for many of us, knowing people I met with some of the hostage families and how hard this was for them for the last 2 years. There's not a Jew across the world who didn't feel personally impacted by the events of October 7th. And these 20 that were released, never knowing if they would get that day. There's also the remains of hostages that are going to be repatriated to Israel. And then for the innocent Palestinians who've been caught in the crossfire of this war that Hamas, a terrorist organization, started, they are getting aid. They're promised 600 trucks of food per day are going to be rolling into Gaza. So people who have been starving, who have had no reason that they should have.
All right, we'll pause it there. But we had to go to Fox News to find it. The View didn't want to put it on their X account. Don't know why. We might watch a little bit more of it in a minute. But guys, I'm noticing all three of you, well, me too in the avatar, we've got hats on. The ladies of The View were not wearing hats. They promised that if the hostages were freed, they'd wear the red hat. No hat. Guys, no hat, no cattle, no hat, no promise kept for The View. What do you say about that? Listen, Fetterman, the Democratic senator out of Pennsylvania, is doing a better job than The View. Lauren, you seem skeptical of that. Go ahead.
Well, I'm just going to offer them one tiny little bit of grace. Because do you think any of them have one? You got to give them a little bit of time to get their hands on one. I'm betting that there's probably not one within several miles of them, I would guess.
You don't think there's a Trump store in Times Square? Is that what you're saying?
I think that it's going to take them a while. Is what I'm saying.
What's the over under? Wiz, what's the over under on them actually wearing the hat after they said they'd wear the hat? At least this one lady, she said she'd wear the hat if the hostages were freed.
You know, it's not going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. The amount of pressure from social media that it would take to make that happen, and even then, never going to happen, because then that would polarize the people that routinely watch The View, who would. I can't imagine how they would react to that. It would have to be like Lego Star Wars, the video game sound effects when you break into little mini studs. That's what would happen to the viewers of The View upon seeing any of them wear a hat. But I'm going to give them even more grace, Lorne. They have very well put together hair, and a hat would give them hat hair. And that's the only excuse I could find.
You know what? Listen, guys, just get a red hat will do. It doesn't even have to say anything on it. Just a simple red hat, no text. Lauren.
I guarantee you there's another reason why, and it's that they know that if they did that it would be cut into every campaign ad ever.
Yes, and they can't stand that. A little bit more of the clip. Here we go.
Been involved in this conflict are going to get the aid they need. Peace holds.
Yeah. Well, and knowing that Hamas has no power, one thing they kept sticking on every time these ceasefires didn't work is they did not want to cede power, because they had their tunnel system and they were using their citizens as human shields, and the devastation, they did not want to hand it over, and then they were destroyed. They really had no choice. But I think the speech we saw today is going to hold to account also Prime Minister Netanyahu, because Donald Trump went on record saying there are things that Israel now needs to do as well. So this deal was a compromise. Neither side got everything they wanted, but most importantly, those hostages are home. Aid is flooding into Gaza.
You'll notice the other ladies didn't get in there. The ladies who hate the orange man didn't get in there. Shocking that, eh? Shocking that.
His name is not brought up at all.
Never said it. Never said the orange man's name. Can't do it.
Around that.
It's kind of surprising, because I do believe I saw a clip. I saw a clip where Hillary Clinton actually praised President Trump for this. So you would think that maybe Joy Behar could bring herself to say, okay, maybe he kind of did a good thing. Whoopi Goldberg, going back. Let's take us for example.
What's amazing, Ron, is they won't even put it on. I mean, it's not even on the View's X account. Everything else is. I mean, they've got this stuff, but again, it's a podcast for one of their least popular. I don't want to be mean to her, but she's the quote unquote conservative. She's not really. But she's, her podcast, you can watch this thing where she's not on The View, but actual clips of The View,
no.
They don't have it. They didn't put it on the View's X account. It's amazing. It's amazing on a day like today. It's like the Berlin Wall came down and they're talking about, an SNL sketch.
Yeah. I just like to point out, because people often will call us whatever. Look, we reviewed Lilo and Stitch. Which was because earlier we talked about the bombs that Disney has had this year, but they did have one good one, Lilo and Stitch. And most of us on the panel, we kind of generally liked Lilo and Stitch. There were some issues with it, but my point is that every single person chimed in when we did that, and we all had. Most of us have good things to say about it.
Balls and strikes, Ron. Balls and strikes. The good stuff, we praise it. The bad stuff, we don't. Disney put out the X-Men 97 thing. I gave it like an 8.7. Listen, we try to be honest. And the issue with The View is they don't want to be honest.
Exactly.
They know that this was historic. They know they're not going to promote it. They're not going to, because it's tribalism. Go ahead.
No, I was just, exactly. That's what I was saying. We call balls and strikes and we keep it real. And I don't think The View can actually keep it real. I think that they have pandered to their particular audience for too long of a period of time. And they know that from their audience, they would receive an immense amount of backlash, especially if they only put on a red hat for 1 minute. Even if they did it in a mocking way, I think that could be used against them. So we're not going to see that from them. Also,
Can I tell you one more thing? The fact that she promised on the set that she'd wear the hat if the hostages were freed, they are so convinced that the Orange Man cannot do these things. That is the only reason you would promise such a thing. They are so convinced that he will never achieve these things that they make these, they think 1 in a million. I'll never have to follow through on this promise. That's the only reason they would do this, right, Wiz?
Yeah, there's not a chance that they thought that this was going to happen, or they believed that Trump would be involved with the outcome here. But more so, there is no possibility that I can see that they're going to follow through with the promises that they were made, because it would be used till kingdom come in every campaign ad. It would be circulated on social media everywhere, and it would break the narrative that the View is built on, which is pretty much just hating Donald Trump. That's all the show really is now. They can't afford that because that's all they have. Their credibility is based in hatred for Donald Trump. To admit that they could have been wrong at this, which is massive. It feels like it's a small thing to put the hat on, but it's a massive event that is taking place here. For that to be the thing that they were wrong about, well, then they could be wrong about everything else. And they can't afford that. Their ratings aren't good enough to take that gamble. Although they took it.
They like to claim that they're the #1 daytime news talk show on a network. That's pretty specific. If you compare to them, The Price is Right, they get 1/3 of that viewership. So don't let them trick you. They're wizards on the money. They struggle. Lauren, we're going to wrap this thing up. Before we do, though, I want to give you the final word on it. Your thoughts on The View and where they go from here. I mean, what if the Orange Man is able to get a victory in bringing peace to Eastern Europe next? What do they do?
Well, it's I want to be careful in how I reply here, because I think that what happened today is historic and it's fantastic. I am somewhat skeptical as to how long a peace can last. The return of the hostages is a better outcome than I think that we could have conceived of, and I'm very, very happy that that's happened. But I want to be careful about not doing what the Bush administration did, which was spike the football. You gotta wait and see how long does this last. As it comes to Europe, that's another thorny situation, and I think Putin so far has managed to resist some pretty stiff pressure. However, the world is kind of coming around to Trump's way of thinking, so I'm not going to bet against him either. If he was able to create a ceasefire in that situation, boy, there's going to be a lot of people suddenly being very, very quiet.
Whoopi, Joy, and Sunny might actually have to eat the crow.
Hey, Floral, guess what?
You put a fork in Pro's microwave again.
No, that was yesterday.
I don't know that what.
Oh, I've decided to give up on torturing Jonas.
What? Why? In the same way the cat sleeps like 20 hours a day, that was like your purpose.
I know, but I've decided there's bigger fish to fry.
Okay.
Like Lorne. I mean, think about it. Everybody loves him. He's a fan favorite, and frankly, he has almost no weaknesses I can find. Except that he's really smart.
So, you want to annoy the one panelist without a single flaw, because he's smart.
Yeah, like that winged statue at that fancy Paris museum thingy. I want to break the one thing that everyone loves most.
Right. So, kind of like the opposite of Rachel Zegler.
Yeah, exactly. And I get to see her all the time at family reunions anyway.
You get to see Rachel Zegler?
Yeah. She's a total troll. Lives under a bridge, harasses billy goats, the whole 9 yards.
It all makes sense now.
Speaking of which, maybe she'll get me... Okay, I'm gonna call her on my... I'm gonna call her and see if she'll be in the next Indiana Jones. She should be the next Indiana Jones. That'll totally destroy Lord. He loves Indiana Jones.
Oh, that's cruel.
Hey, Rach, I've got a cool idea for you that involves a whip and snakes.
I love that description. It's perfect.
I know, right? Weird, as we always say.